My name is Caroline Poynton and I'm recording. It's because YouTube, I'm not copywriting. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm paying attention. Yay!
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I don't know if you've noticed.
Well, if I don't get confused, like Paul Thorne, because I don't want to get too bloody confused, because he's too much confused, Paul Thorne. He doesn't even know whether he's a Thorne, or is he in England, or is he in fucking Spain? He's in fucking Spain. España. Because I'm fucking England, and I'm fucking freezing.
Have you been on X recently?
No.
I mean, if you don't use it, you won't notice this. But you might have noticed it down the pub or in your local community.
By just looking about. I don't even go pub anymore. I don't know there's any community. I don't go pub. In fact, my mother's got more socialisation than my bloody self.
You see, everyone seems incredibly polarised. Like there's a tension building in the air, right? There's this massive tension building up. Like everyone's expecting something to happen very soon. You can feel it. It's palpable. I can feel it just by being online, just by seeing the absolute shitstorm that is X right now. Obviously, you've got lots of people polarised over what's happened with the ambulances. Where did they come from? How are they allowed? Then you've got the people that are polarised around what is Islamophobia? What does it mean to be British? What do you mean by mass deportations? Then you've got the people that are polarised about English identity. What does that mean?
Am I English?
And then that's even before guessing to the parties themselves, the actual political parties. Reform UK, Restore Britain, Labour, Conservatives, the Greens, the absolute clown show, the Lib Dems.
The Advance.
Yeah, everyone seems to be losing their minds right now, apart from one group of people.
That's me.
One group of people that are just waiting for everything to happen, just waiting for their moment, just sat back, watching all the chaos, just thinking, I know exactly what's going to happen, as they sit there with a smile on their face. Now, I'll be honest, guys, you've probably seen this yourself in various different forms, said various different ways, but it all means the same thing. Hey, Restore voters, are you going to be proud that you've split the votes and allowed Labour in again? That's what's going to happen. Wise up. Oh, and don't follow me. I won't be following back.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Spoiler alert, no, it's not really paying off too well for them, is it? Reform UK not doing too well, losing membership, going down in the polls, whereas Restore Britain, surging membership, going up in the polls. Now, it's not really working out how they thought it would, by threatening people, by humiliating them, by ostracising them. Imagine having the audacity to say that they deserve your vote. They deserve it, guys. If you don't vote for them, you're splitting something. They don't need to earn your vote. They don't need to do anything to earn it. You just have to vote for them, or you're a bad guy. You're going to get Labour in power.
Well, I'm a bad guy, I mean.
You know, there's a thing about threatening people that doesn't really pay off if you want their vote. And this is the thing with these people. I don't think that they understand that we're already in a very comfortable position. We know 100% with certainty that the votes and the allocation of the votes will do nothing but go up. All we have to do is stay on message, stay on brand, not get dragged into any silly politics, any slanging matches.
I don't do politics.
Just sit back. Keep rolling out really well thought out, pro-British, mostly pro-English policies, and then the people will come. There's a movie, isn't there? Like, build it. If you build it, they will come, with Kevin Costner.
Don't follow him. What are you doing?
Instead of a bunch of middle-aged
I'm following him, all right.
you're going to get actual voters that have never voted before. I guess they are voting. I guess they really are voting. Because these are voters that have never voted in their entire lives, or for decades.
That's me. I've never voted in my life and fought for it.
And we're building the party which they will come to.
I'm the only one I've ever gone to vote for.
So we don't need your threats. We don't need your gaslighting.
Yeah, we don't
need
need
you telling us that we're bad people. Otherwise, Labour's going to get in power. We have to vote for your party. We have to go for the middle ground. Why?
Because I think they're in Nigel Farage.
Why? The middle ground has already betrayed Britain multiple times. Why the hell would we want to go there?
Why would I want to go Nigel Farage?
There's a bunch of people that are just waiting for the chance to save this country.
That's me. I'm Rupert Low.
So we don't actually have to do anything.
No.
Just wait.
We are waiting.
With a smile on our face.
Yay!
And actually on the other side,
And you're on the
Bristol
other side,
Britain,
you fucking
I've
bitch.
done my research into them, and I can tell you
can
right
do
now,
your
actually there's a
research,
story,
I'm doing my
story out
research into
today,
exactly you
left to the
lot
Electoral Commission saying, okay, so
Yeah.
you now sign them up as a political
Stop
party,
with
but
Margaret
60% of the
McQueen.
so-called membership
I'm fucking
Yes,
starved.
you can't beat them by
Can't
policies,
beat them. Well, they ain't
by
joining
telling
them.
the truth, by being upstanding
No, they say you can't beat
leaders
them, you better join them.
and great journalists. Just make shit up.
Yeah.
Remember, she did her research, right? She did her research, but she
That's it.
didn't bother to actually,
I just said
ask the
that's good
people
shit.
in charge. Thankfully, the British Lander put this to bed by actually asking, the actual Electoral Commission. Pretty easy to do. Got that one wrapped up pretty quickly.
I couldn't
But
say
of
I've
course,
done no research.
what do you expect? From
Oh,
a journalist that
what?
is so
Up her own ass.
genuinely, outstandingly, brazenly intellectual,
I'm fake blonde,
that
that
asks the
one's a
kinds
fake
of
blonde,
questions that
damn it,
Thucydides and Aristotle would be flummoxed by.
Well,
Questions like these.
So.
What is so different
What is your
about
roots?
Restore Britain to Reform UK?
I hate that when you've got
I want you to
fucking
explain
dark
to me
hair
what
there and
that
then
is.
light
What
down
is
there
it that
with
Restore
blonde.
Britain are
Fucking hate
proposing?
it.
What is it the party's
What
going
is
to
it
do
with
that
your
Reform
fucking
UK
hair like
wants?
that?
What are the things?
My
Can you
hair's
explain
a
it
mess,
out?
but I tell you what, I don't have dark
You know,
roots there.
what do you mean as different?
And then blonde down
Different
there.
to Reform UK. I need
That's
to
why I'm
understand
different.
this. Make it clear. Explain it to me like I'm
fucking
fine.
bully.
You know, she almost sounds as confused as someone else that I know.
What's going on here? I
What's
just
going
don't
on
get
here?
it.
We
I
don't
don't
know
understand.
part.
I've got to the stage now where I'm confused.
Ah!
I am truly baffled. Can anyone explain that to me? I'm a bit confused at the moment.
Yay!
I'm wondering what's going on. What the
Rupert
fuck's going
fucking
on here?
Low!
Since you're all so confused, since you need it explaining like a 5-year-old, I'm going to
God,
use a video.
stay
Is that okay? You don't have to read anything.
You them
can just
are
look
boys
at
of
the
the devil,
moving pictures. And
Maybe
maybe
send
you'll
us that
finally understand why we're not too
Acting
worried
Charles.
about the language, the
fucking
rhetoric, the
done.
threats,
I'm
the
chopping King Charles's head
gaslighting,
off
the
me.
misinformation, the misdirection. We're just going to sit here quietly with a smile
The
on our
governments are the
face.
treasoners and they're the
There is nothing
traitors.
wrong with being white. There is nothing wrong with being a man. There is
Nothing
nothing
wrong with
wrong
being
with
white,
being
right?
straight. You are not the problem.
No, they
The
are.
system is the problem. To the young white men who feel ignored and insulted,
Rupert
I
Low!
speak directly to you. For too long, young white men in this country have been
See where we scared then? Where was anyone ever scared then?
treated, and your identity is something to apologize for.
Yes.
So the next time you're out there and you hear someone say something like this,
British people will never, ever, ever get behind Restore in a big way. It will never happen.
You fucking fake faggot. You're another one. Another fucking faggot in a faggot. Restart Britain. We're taking it over and over and over.
Well, the main story, of course, today is
Oh,
Lord
yeah.
McSweeney and his phone. So he is the chief of staff, or
Track a
was the
fucking
chief of
trace.
staff to Keir Starmer. His phone was
Keir
stolen
Starmer,
from
let's track and
him.
trace Keir
and,
Starmer. I wonder where
bizarrely,
Keir
he
Starmer's
then made a
hiding
999
today.
call, but he didn't think to mention
Anyone can
that
track
actually
and
he was
trace
at
Keir
that time,
Starmer.
in October last year, the Prime Minister's
Anyone
chief of staff.
track and
The point of it all, of course, is that the
trace
Peter
Keir Starmer.
Mandelson
Okay.
messages are on there. What he said, what was
What
decided,
did they
what was
say?
discussed. and those are apparently now lost. But are they actually lost? When the Prime Minister's official spokesman was asked about this repeatedly after Prime Minister's questions earlier today, we did not get a clear answer. Kelly Bainbridge has been reacting to this. This is what she said.
Speaker, the Prime Minister loves to hide behind legal process. I wonder what a director of public prosecutions would make of the defence. Sorry, I can't produce my WhatsApps. My phone's been stolen.
Well, answer came there none from Keir Starmer, as is so often the case at Prime Minister's questions. One other thing I want to show you from Prime Minister's questions is a very good question from Nigel Farage, actually, because he asked about the policy of smashing the gangs. I just want to show you this stuff, actually. Remarkable that the Prime Minister...
Smash the gangs!
Even if you smash your phone,
Trust
you
me,
can smash your
I
phone
will stop the votes
smithereens,
from coming.
and you'll still get all your
70,000
numbers
later,
back.
And 1,000 in the last week, and too many young men that pose a threat to national security. Is it not time to admit, Smash the Gangs has been a total abject failure, along, frankly, with most of his other policies? Is it now time, he told us, as summer approaches...
But there's no track and chase on there, is there?
Well, Mr. Speaker, this is from the...
Well, they've been telling us all these illegals are throwing their phones in the sea, so we can't track and trace where they're from.
Want it sorted. He has absolutely no judgment. He again said, let's join the war. Let's all go to war. I want to make it perfectly clear he wants the war. A week later, screeching U-turn, we don't want to go to war. And if they've trusted
Tell you what, we're not going to war with Iran, we're going to war with number 110.
Anything he says seriously.
We're fucking 10 down, straight. That's exactly where we're going to war with.
In Worcestershire, this is what he said about Worcestershire. He said, we took control of a virtually bankrupt council. I wish we hadn't bothered. He asks for people's votes and then he abandons them. Reform don't want to solve problems, they only want to exploit them. I am thankful for the opportunity to change this country for the better. He says he wish he hadn't bothered winning councils because they're an absolute disgrace.
So, Keir Starmer criticising Nigel Farage for U-turning. Okay. I know someone else who's done a few U-turns, and his name's Keir Starmer. 15 of them, in fact, 15 major U-turns. We'll forget about the smaller U-turns as well. Absolutely extraordinary. Reform UK MPs then got up and left the chamber during Prime Minister's questions. So many unanswered questions from Keir Starmer, so many unanswered questions about Morgan McSweeney's phone being stolen. He gave his name but not his job title. He talked about having a government phone. Well, tens of thousands of civil servants have government issued phones. If a 999 call handler says it's a government issued phone, well, that could be anybody. That could be a junior civil servant who has a government issued phone. That could be a press officer. That could be anybody. I had a government issued phone when I was a special advisor. If I had it stolen, there would have been procedures to follow. So the question is, did Keir Starmer actually follow the procedure? A Number 10 insider got in touch with me earlier on, someone who worked in, not actually in Number 10 anymore, but had worked in Number 10 for a very, very long time. And this person, nearly 3 decades actually, and this person messaged me earlier today to outline the process as they understood it. And said that if a Number 10 member of staff has their phone stolen or misplaced, first they inform security then inform the Parliamentary Police, the guys on the gates essentially, the special branch, and if it's someone like Morgan McSweeney, the Cabinet Secretary is informed too. McSweeney would also be told to inform his local police station, or Charing Cross Police Station, which is the nearest police station to Downing Street, the physically closest one. IT will also be informed as they issue the encrypted phones.
Well, I've got a phone, and I'm sure if I got my phone stolen, I cannot track and trace it.
Your phone is stolen or missing. It's also up to the owner to report it to your local police station. So either it's a lie, failure to follow process or procedures, complete disregard for the security implications,
and then there's lie to the police.
That's someone who used to work in Downing Street until very, very recently for some time. So there's a lot in this. And the person I wanted to speak to on this is Will Geddes, the security expert, because so many questions do about what actually exists. Where are they? What happens if your phone gets stolen? What happens if you're an important person and your phone gets stolen? Well, I was talking to an important person earlier today who had his phone stolen, and you helped them some time ago. We'll not say who it is, but let's say they're familiar to
people had their phone stolen in a rally, and they put track and trace on it and went and tracked their fucking phone. Got their phone back.
The first thing is with Morgan McSweeney, that list of failings
I've
that
tried
you
to
just put.
trace
I'd
one of
say
my
all of
iPhones
them
as
are.
well.
The
To
first
bury
and
market
foremost
in
element is,
Manchester.
as a government phone, if it was a government phone that he was using, because I certainly know some of the guys who actually configure those encrypted devices, and the number of times, whether that be the phones or whether it be laptops, the number of politicians that actually don't use those devices and use their own devices is astounding. Because the first and foremost important factor is every communication that they make on those devices needs to be logged and auditable. So if you've gone back through at some point, if there has been any issue, misunderstanding, miscommunication or anything that can attribute to the individual who communicated via that device, whether it be the owner or whether it be someone that it communicated to, which could be Mandelson in this instance. So the first thing is why he's stating that they can't retrieve WhatsApp. Well, I can tell you for a fact, Peter, that all of our WhatsApp messages are backed up if we have an iCloud account.
What happens if you have that thing where they disappear after 90 days
up
or
and everything's
something
tracked,
24 hours?
traced,
Do they disappear if that's the case?
fingerprint.
No, they're still backed up, and they're still. I mean, unless you're using something like Signal or Threema or one of the encrypted secret messenger apps or secure messenger apps, WhatsApp will be backed up to your iCloud account. Now, few people actually realise that unless you specifically, and this is the exception, Peter, that is unless you deliberately disable that backup capability.
Live? What do I do when you want to get rid of evidence?
Someone is a high-profile.
Burn it, get rid of it, throw it in the sea.
People might not necessarily know his name. Our viewers and listeners will, because we mention him relatively frequently. He's not there anymore and had to resign, of course, over the Mandelson affair. There'll be extra levels, won't there? Presumably GCHQ, the government's monitoring service, secret service, they will presumably have a track on the phone. They'll know where it was. Presumably they could delete it remotely. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's again no different in many ways, Peter, to what we all have, which is our Find Our device and that ability to remotely disable that device to erase it.
You can't get into an iPhone.
As long as we can get to our laptops in time.
Fuck off!
What the government have is what we call MDM, which is Mobile Device Management.
Fucking
iPhone! That enables a
you cannot
remote part
them.
within the IT division to be able to sort out software updates, sort out any particular sort of problems that the user might have with the device. So with an MDM, they have also that ability to be able to disable that phone, to take it offline, and certainly prevent it being any use to anybody else and breaking it.
I remember as well when I worked for the Home Secretary that
and the police would go and find that phone.
Usually when you have an iPhone, you can get the code wrong, I think it's up to 10 times, but on her phone it was only 3 times.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like you said, on standard users' iPhones, if you go into the settings, you can set it so that if someone tries that passcode a number of times, it will erase on the 10th time or after the 10th time. So, Morgan is not being entirely honest,
they will deal with something like the fucking army if they get told to do it.
Reason, Peter, for why he couldn't retrieve his messages. Well, then you go to the user's messages, the other user's messages, which would be Mandelson, and I would be wanting to investigate his.
Do you think he should be arrested on the police from him lying to the police?
Would have had even more level of security.
I think the police have a warrant to be able to take him into a fucking cell.
Or erase some of the WhatsApp on there.
And question him on why he's lying about his phone being stolen. For lying to the police, wasting police time to crime.
They would have the ability to be able to intrinsically, remotely access it in the event that that device had been subject to, say, a malicious software like Pegasus. You may recall a couple of years ago, Pegasus software had been embedded into people like Jeff Bezos's device, as well as many other people in the public eye, which was able to be able to mimic and clone all their messages, all their phone calls, turn on the camera, turn on the microphone, all sorts of things.
Yeah, really, really interesting, Will, all of that. It's interesting as well that Joanna has been in touch and says, hi Cardi B, Mandelson gets sacked on the 11th of September, I think that's right. On the 20th of October, Morgan McSwee's phone was stolen just as questions are being asked. how convenient. Well, the timing is perhaps very inconvenient, actually, for Morgan McSweeney, because so many people are asking these questions now. It's also the fact that it appears to be the fact that he was on his phone when the phone was going, so the phone was essentially open. The person didn't need to put
he's wasted police time. No, don't fucking laugh. He's wasted police time. What? When there is someone? Yeah, I was going to say that's generally getting the phone stolen.
You know, someone like me, he's not a not in the Home Office anymore. What would your suggestion?
You're not in the Home Office anymore.
So
you work for him anyway. You're a traitor anyway. Why you work for Talk TV? Nigel fucking Farage.
I'm an iPhone user, so I'm sure I'll get plenty of boos from some of the listeners and watchers for that. But iPhone does have a very good capability. If you go into the general settings of the actual device, you'll see that there is an ability to put in what we call a stolen phone or stolen device capability.
What when a poor child and their mum and dad saved up all year to get them a phone,
street rat
and someone really does steal that phone and the police don't go and get it, and because someone like the government is lying.
And then
I think the police have a right to arrest him for lying to the police.
Again, if you go into the settings, you'll actually be able to find it pretty easily. But remember the passcode that you put in there, because it will be different to the PIN that you actually have to open the phone. Don't forget that. It's a bit like screen time protection or restriction. So again, you can put in another PIN. There are ways to navigate around it, but it's a bit of a pain.
And then what happens if your phone gets stolen? Can you operate that? Can you go to your computer and disable the phone, or what happens?
And
you can go to your iCloud account on your laptop and literally log in. And then you go to the device, go to the Find My Device, and then you've got two options. You can either print out a message actually on the screen, so if you left it in a restaurant, a taxi, on a bus, whatever, and you want to actually retrieve it, and it was quite innocent, you just lost it, then you can do that. If it's been stolen, gets into the hands of the enemy, whoever the enemy might be, you can even erase it completely remotely, as soon as it has a connection.
How much? I mean, you've been involved in all sorts of tales of daring do with all sorts of dodgy characters right around the world. What's the weirdest phone story you can tell us about a phone being stolen and where it's ended up?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, where it's ended up. I mean, there are all sorts of stories I could tell you, Peter, about phones and when they...
But you'd have to kill me.
No, obviously not, Peter. Obviously not. But you know, in terms of how devices are being used for remote surveillance, certainly I would say most bugging that is done these days in a corporate environment, in a personal environment, a lot of it is SIM card transmitting rather than RF technology, which was the traditional sort of bugs and how they would transmit. So SIM cards are very much used. People will use phones. There have been a few occasions I know with celebrities where their partner has had a mobile phone like a Nokia or whatever, and they've actually stuck it to the back of a radiator or stuck it on so right and recorded things. Where the phones have ended up everywhere from West Africa to China, Peter. Wow. So sometimes when they're nicked, they get transported straight off there, they get factory reset. The one thing I would say is, unless you are someone in the public eye, someone important like you, Peter, highly unlikely that they're going to actually be interested in your content. So even if you've got compromising photographs, which I'm sure you don't, Peter, but if you did, then ultimately they're just going to erase the whole thing anyways.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, indeed. And essentially, someone said, oh, that'll have the Prime Minister's phone number in there with Morgan McSweeney's phone. And I sort of thought, yeah, but do you really want to ring Keir Starmer? Do you really want to chat? Do you really want to have a chat with him? I've interviewed him a few times, and
you could do some nuisance calls, couldn't you?
I suppose you could. There was someone actually who rang up, I think, got through the number 10 switchboard actually to speak to Tony Blair, who did an impression of William Hague sort of back in the day. Well, very, very good to talk to you. Thank you very, very much indeed for telling us all of that. And as for the person Will and I both know, it's someone you may be familiar with too, perhaps even on these airwaves, who will help get a mobile phone that had been stolen. Some years ago, but anyway, it would be wrong of me to tell you who it is, but you can have a guess anyway.
Well, that's my dinner anyway. I don't know why I've got my knife and fork. Oh. Right, see? Fucking liars. Where is that fucking phone, Morgan McSweeney? Where have you put it, Keir Starmer? If you give it to King
Close your eyes for a
Charles.
moment and think about this. Right now, there are over 8 billion humans on Earth. We're in Tokyo and Toronto, Lagos and London, scattered across every continent except Antarctica. And honestly, we've got research stations there too. We've built cities that glow from space, created machines that think, sent our technology to the edge of the solar system. We've mapped our own DNA, split the atom, eradicated diseases that killed millions. We are, without question, the most dominant species this planet has ever seen.
And now, because of this bastard,
All right,
I'm
folks,
berate.
I think you guys need to see this. All right, folks, I think you guys need to see this. Keir Starmer lost himself. Couldn't control himself. I mean, he broke down while he was giving a speech, or maybe I should say, while he was waiting to respond. I don't know, maybe something is going on with him. He looked a little bit angry today. Like I'm like seriously angry. I mean, okay, I get the passion to defend yourself, to defend your policies. I get that, but he looks very angry and uncomfortable every time when he was posed with a difficult question, which is like, is he okay?
No,
was it some sort of breakdown in your brain, or are people, or maybe he's scared that he's being challenged so hard now there's no way to defend it. Listen to this, folks. Just watch this. It's freaking crazy.
It's a warning to the whole country. Reform have nothing to offer but chaos, grievance and division.
Leader of the opposition, Kenny Bibb.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I asked the Prime Minister 6 questions last week, and he didn't answer a single one. He has a duty in this House, Mr. Speaker, to answer the question. Let's see if he can do better this week. I'll start with a simple one. Will the Prime Minister approve the licenses for Rosebank and Jackdaw gas fields in the North Sea?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, under statute, that is a matter for the Secretary of State, as she knows, because it's the same arrangements as were in place under the last government. Licences were granted, they were then struck down because of the defects in the process of the last government. But Mr. Speaker, oil and gas is coming out of the North Sea 24/7. It will be part of the energy mix for many years to come. We fully support all existing oil and gas fields throughout their lifespan, and in November we made changes to extend to allow neighbouring fields to be exploited. But we need to take control of our energy prices. The only way to do that is through renewables. The party opposite used to make that argument. One of their senior figures in 22 said this: it's investment in nuclear and renewables that will reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and keep our consumer costs down. Who was that senior figure? The leader of the opposition.
This is not the day to be thrown out with a 2-week break coming.
Mr. Speaker, we can have renewables and oil and gas. He says it's a matter for the Secretary of State. He says it's a matter for the Secretary of State. I thought he was the Prime Minister, and he loves to hide behind legal process every single time. I wonder, Mr. Speaker, what a Director of Public... What have I...
Order. Mr. Yeltsin, you don't want to test my patience, I'm sure. Come back.
One thing I need to address here. I think sometimes we, in parliaments, when you're watching this video or when watching live, it looks like these guys, a lot of people who turn up to the parliament, they just turn up to have fun. I can just tell, bro, they look like they're just having fun. It's like a bunch of guys, bunch of women coming there and just having fun. It's like, hey, let's just hear people argue. It looks like that way. I would want to be there too. Not to have fun, but to actually make something, to change the country. But it looks like a lot of them. Look at them. Looks like a lot of these guys and just sitting here, just just making noise. Yes, I get it. When there's a good point that's been made, yes, chant, scream, whatever. But when it comes to like those little echoing, those laugh, those smirk, those little whispering whistles, I'm thinking, hey, what the fuck is going on? This is the parliament, bro. Anyways, let's carry on. But watch this. Now Case Dharma will break down. Watch this.
Yeah.
Are you liking this video? Well, don't just watch. Click the like button, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video or the next live stream that we do. And if you want us to keep getting better and recruit more people and grow, then please support us financially. The first link in the description. By doing so, you'll be able to get access to private videos and private forum between you and I and other members. Let's get back into the video.
Speaker, the Prime Minister loves to hide behind legal process. I wonder what a director of public prosecutions would make of the defense. Sorry, I can't produce my WhatsApps. My phone's been stolen. The Jackdaw gas field could be up and running before winter. All that gas would be used here in the UK to heat 1.6 million homes. That is enough to power Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex put together. So will the Prime Minister approve the licences, or is the Energy Secretary running the government?
Mr. Speaker, legislation has been put.
Now watch this. From here forward, yeah, just watch. Focus on his posture. Focus on his body language. You could tell he's physically uncomfortable being challenged, or someone posing a tough questions to him.
It's just tough question, isn't
just watch this. This is where you like, hey, he's doing the Joe Biden type. But he did held it together at the very end. But watch, he's gonna melt down now.
It's absolutely clear that the quasi-judicial duty under legislation rests with the Secretary of State. I really think if she's going to put this challenge to me, she needs to read the legislation. That is the legislation that they applied for 14 years. It's exactly the legislation that they used to put the licences in place, which were then struck down because the process was defective. But Mr. Speaker, let's be clear, when Russia invaded Ukraine, energy prices doubled. The 12-day war, oil prices hit £100 a barrel. In the last 4 weeks, because we're on the fossil fuel roller coaster, everybody has been held to ransom. The only way forward is to go further and faster on renewables. And the leader...
He's shaking, bro. The man looks... He's physically incapable to keep going on. I don't know. He's not even that old as well. Watch.
Mr. Speaker, the leader of the opposition's approach is to outsource our foreign policy and let the US decide whether we go to war, to outsource our energy policy to Russia and Iran and let them set the price of energy. I will never do that because it's not in the British national interest.
Mr. Speaker, he is hiding behind so many people. He is the Prime Minister. He can make this decision today. He can. He is so weak. He's the first person.
Oh, look at this. What is going on with Keir Starmer, folks? What is happening? Oh, God, Keir Starmer, man. It's like, oh, no. Oh, no. What is he doing? Maybe he might be reading something, but let's play. Let's play. It's a bit too long. He holds his head too long. It's like, oh, I fucked it. Watch.
To be pushed around by the energy sector.
How long?
Let me remind him.
Hey, somebody get the camera back on that.
Let me remind him who is on my side. The unions, yes, GMB, they're on my side. Tony Blair. Mr. Speaker, Renewable UK, the very people that he's talking about, they are saying drill in the North Sea. Centrica, Octopus Energy, even Labour MPs. Let me quote the Labour member for Pembrokeshire who says, offshoring our carbon emissions might give a sense of moral superiority, but it is simply impoverishing our communities. We agree. So why does the Prime Minister think he knows better than everyone else?
I'm going to have one more go.
I'm going to have one more go. Yeah, duh, go. Oh, God, Keir Starmer, bro.
The legislation, the statute, the law prescribes the decision maker. They know that. They should be embarrassed that she doesn't even... she's attacking me without having read the legislation. The legislation sets out who the decision maker is. It's the Secretary of State. It is not the Prime Minister. It has to be the Secretary of State, and it's a quasi-judicial process, exactly the process that they ran for many years. And Mr. Speaker, oil and gas is part of the mix for many years to come, but we do need to get on to renewables. But Mr. Speaker, we're discussing this because of the war. We need to de-escalate, and that is... Yes, we are. That is why I stuck to my principles not to join the war, but to act in collective self-defence. I appreciate that the opposition doesn't get that. She wants
Stick
to
to the
jump into the
telephone,
war
where
without
is that?
regard to the consequences. And then to a mother of all U-turns, and now she's stranded without a thought-through position. And Mr. Speaker, when she was asked at the weekend, it certainly is if you've got absolutely no judgment.
Mr. Speaker,
I
I'm
mean,
going to let...
look at what Israel's doing in Lebanon. A lot of people will run away from that side, and we all know where they're gonna go.
Yeah,
and we should keep and we should just build the fucking wall. Of course, that's impossible.
A wall.
It's a bit hard, but
No,
just use the border force.
The dinosaur border.
Just actually get them to work. It's simple. Just get them to work.
Building a border
Simple
wall.
stuff.
For
And I
fucking
think that will
dinosaurs
obviously
can't get
protect
through.
us from all these potential bad people coming into the country. And I'm not saying all people who will be fleeing Iran,
Right around southern
or
France.
who will be fleeing Lebanon, or
And if France
Gaza,
don't
or
get out of the
whatever
way, we'll
area,
go
or
to
Syria,
war, back to war with France
will be
like I've
bad.
already
All I'm
said.
saying is that, hey, we'll be able to pick and choose who will let into the country rather than just them walking in, which I think is gonna get worse the more the war continues. And that's why I think Kemi Badenoch kind of like fucked it, wanted to get into war. Do you even know what that is? I really do like her, but she lost it with that side. We shouldn't just join every single war.
Well, no.
We don't have the men. We have the equipment, yes, but how long? Are we gonna destroy the little very thing that we have? Hey, if Putin is the big guy, is the bad guy, then we should
wait.
Reserve our little energy that we have for him, right? Not Iran. But by my take, not many people would agree, but I do still believe that Iran needs to be taken out, meaning they need a transitional government, they need a good guy in there. But it's not my country, so I have nothing to say about it. So I'll let the Iranian people speak on that side. But for the British people, yes, we need to keep and put Britain first. And Keir Starmer is, of course, lashing out hard. He lashed out today very hard on reform. He's so furious on reform. He's like a mad dad now. He's getting very angry for, yes, I get it. He's trying to protect and push his ideas forward and protect his ideology and his policies that, and the things that they're doing. Of course, that's what you do as a prime minister, as an MP, you do that. So, people can buy into your idea. But the way it's been going on now is just not violently, of course not, but I'm saying he's doing everything to get people to just stop questioning him. Very angry. And I don't even know why. But what do you guys think, folks? Do you think his Starmer is losing it? Health issues? What could it be? Maybe he's tired defending what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's tired being asked the same questions.
And not getting
or maybe
anywhere.
the logic is slowly catching up with him.
Yeah.
What do you think, folks? Comment down below. What do you guys think? Do you think Keir Starmer is doing a Joe Biden?
Full moving out
Or he's just simply tired? And today, he just lost it. What do you guys think, folks? Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Bye.
People are extremists. We're the extremists.
January 2016, a 4-year-old boy drew a picture of his dad cutting a cucumber. His nursery heard Cooker Bomb. He was referred to the government's counter-terrorism programme. He was 4. He was drawing vegetables. That same programme, Prevent, assessed a teenager called Axel Rudikabana on 3 separate occasions, looked at him 3 times and said, no, he's fine.
Yeah,
he went on to murder 3 little girls in Southport with a kitchen knife he bought on Amazon. Police found homemade ricin under his bunk bed,
And they knew
enough for
what
over
they were
1,000
They
lethal
sent him.
doses. And in the year that program was clearing a future mass murderer, it also found time to refer 345 children under the age of 10 to counter-terrorism. 345 under 10. So today we're going to go through the numbers because the government funded a video game that teaches your kids worrying about immigration makes them a terrorist. The game's villain became the biggest right-wing meme of the year, with Elon Musk sharing her and actual cryptocurrency coins launched in her name. And the game got offline within a week. And that's barely even the start, because right now, on BBC One, there's a primetime drama where a man gets flagged as a terrorist for filing freedom of information requests. The BBC made that with your licence fee. So let's look at where this system actually points and what it's supposed to be watching instead. Right, let's start with the numbers because they're worse than you think. Prevent is the government's counter-radicalisation programme. Been running since 2003. And in the year ending March 2025, it received a record 8,778 referrals, the highest since records began. Now, of those cases that actually got adopted for intervention, the Channel programme, where they sit you down and try to de-radicalise you, 42% were for extreme right-wing concerns, 15% for Islamist extremism, 42% right-wing, with 15% for Islamists. Now, compare that with MI5's actual counter-terrorism caseload. 75% Islamist, 25% everything else. 94% of every person killed by terrorism in Britain since 1999 was killed by Islamist terrorism. 94%. But the programme designed to catch these people early spends nearly 3 times the effort looking at the right wing. And this wasn't some secret, the government's own reviewer said it out loud. William Shawcross, the independent reviewer of Prevent, published his report in February 2023. 34 recommendations, all accepted by the government, and he was blunt about it. He said Prevent had defined the extreme right wing too broadly, pulled in the respectable right and centre right, whilst applying much narrower criteria to Islamist extremism. Suella Braverman stood up in Parliament and called it a bogus equivalence, said it plainly. While obscuring the Islamist threat, Prevent had cast the net so wide on the right that ordinary political opinion was getting swept up. Chris Philp called it a national security failure, which, given the numbers, feels like an understatement. But the referral numbers are just the mechanism. Wait until you see what they actually built with your money to fix this supposed problem. So, the Home Office, through Prevent, funded a video game. I'm sure you've all heard of it by now. It was called Pathways, Navigating Gaming, the Internet and Extremism. Developed by a company called Shout Out UK in partnership with Hull City Council and East Riding of Yorkshire Council. Made available to schools in June 2025. Aimed at 11 to 18-year-olds. The idea was simple enough. Teach kids to recognise extremist radicalisation. Except the game focused entirely on right-wing radicalisation. Not Islamist,